Hi, welcome at your service in Caris. This is the 11 a.m. meeting for Tuesday, the 10th of March, 2026. And again, I have no particular subject, though I've just been categorizing Bible verses. And I've got to Matthew 4, chapter 4, verse 48. And I thought, well, now that I'm starting the meeting, I might as well talk about that. I've got a couple of different versions here, and I'll read the literal version, which is, therefore you be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect, and the literal standard version, which is, you will therefore be perfect as your Father who is in the heavens is perfect. Even King James uses the word perfect, and International Standard Version uses the word perfect. But the changes there are, therefore, you be perfect. It's telling you to be perfect for the literal version. Or the literal standard version is, you will therefore be perfect. You will become, it's a becoming in the literal standard version. And it's a command in the literal version. Well, what is it in the Greek? In the Greek, it's where it says be and therefore, it says be is either will be or should be or shall come to pass. So the implication there is you are to become perfect. Now, perfect. It doesn't, perfect is even though it's the same word used in every translation, it's probably not a good word to use because the Greek is teleos, which means complete. And it has various applications, as in completing a labor or completing growth or having a strong moral and mental character. So, more so complete rather than perfect, as it's often used as being reaching adulthood. So, an adult isn't perfect, an adult is complete in their growth. So, you are to be completed. You are to be full and reach fullness in God as God is full and complete. Okay, so what we're actually talking about here isn't reaching perfection, but it's reaching a standard of being full in Christianity. And what is full in Christianity? Having the fruits of the Spirit, for one, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Having all those things, having a good relationship with God, knowing the scripture, even if you can't quote it off by heart, at least you have read it and have a good understanding of it. How many of us have done those things? And that's not even really complete, because as a Christian, We are all called to a ministry of some kind. Have you stepped out in your calling? No one is called to be served. No one is called to just go to church once a week and that's all they do. Because in not living the Christian life, how can you call yourself a Christian? Because Christianity isn't just a set of beliefs. In fact, it's a lifestyle more than a set of beliefs. Sure, it's a set of beliefs, but it's a lifestyle that has a set of beliefs, not a set of beliefs that might influence your lifestyle. No, it's the other way around. So, what is your lifestyle like? Are you doing Christian things all the time? And we can start with the personal Christian things: prayer, Bible study, the social Christian things, going to church, the of Christianity, sharing God with the world and showing God to the world through your goodness, through your love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, faithfulness, kindness, goodness, self-control, through preaching the gospel to all creation and discipling them, bringing people up in God, getting them to commit to God and then showing them how to live a godly life. Well, you can't do all those things if you haven't done the basics to start off with. And again, what are the basics? Getting to know God, getting to understand Christianity from knowing the Bible. Again, you don't have to be able to quote every verse backwards, though having read the entire Bible is a step. And having a prayer life. And once you've got those basics right and organised, well, have you found your call? Do you know what it is? If you don't, you've got work to do. Contact us, tell us, let us know, and we can help you. Have you stepped out in that call? Maybe you've advanced beyond all those things and now you've already stepped out in the call. Well, then maybe you can help us to train others. Where are you at? Be perfect. You, oh, should go back to read one of those translations. Therefore, you be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Step up to the place you need to be. Become a mature Christian. Are there other things to look at for a complete life as a Christian? Well, what do you need to do? Beyond sharing God with everyone around you, either through your actions or through your words, then no, there isn't really anything else to do. We should commune with each other and have be baptized and have communion as well. Communion is not the same as communing with each other. Communion is partaking of communion, the bread and wine, whereas communing with others, in other words, having a community with the other Christians around you, being either members of this group or members of your church or the like. But that's still not quite there. It's still not quite it. Of course, you need to reach out to the unsaved, unchurched community. Love your neighbour as yourself. Would you neglect yourself and not want anyone to talk to you? If you yourself would want people to talk to you, if you yourself would want people to bring God to you, bring godliness to you, well, that's the same thing you should be doing for your neighbours. And your neighbours, again, not the people that live either side of you, and not even your entire neighbourhood, but all people. Because if you look at your neighbourhood, you've got every kind of person. You've got every kind of religion, every kind of race, every kind of belief, every kind of level of self. There are the selfless people, which are very, very, very few. Very, very few will put everyone else before themselves. And you get the fully selfish people. It's all about them, only about them. They don't care at all about anyone else. And, they might be full-on criminals, for example. Well, you get all types in your neighbourhood, don't you? So you are called, therefore, to express God to all types of people, whoever it is that is around you. My neighbourhood stretches out to the entire world because these messages are going to people in other countries. These messages are going to people in Africa and the United States, for example. And one day I imagine these messages will be going to everyone well, not everyone, but in every country, there'll be people that'll be watching these messages. But I seek far more than that because I don't seek for me to be the person delivering the messages to all those people. I want you to do it. I want anyone that is willing to pick a Bible verse like this one, which is Matthew 5:48. You will therefore be perfect as your Father who is in the heavens is perfect. And again, we know the word perfect means complete. You will therefore, and fully mature really, you will therefore be a fully mature Christian as your Father who is in the heavens is complete. So we all have something to do. Some of us are called to fivefold ministries: pastor, prophet, evangelist, teacher, apostle. And some of us are called to support or helps ministries: counsellors, ushers, hospital visitation teams, and street teams, and people to care for the homeless and to feed the hungry, or whatever it is. Maybe you have a call to help drug addicts get off the drugs, or doesn't matter. Whatever your call is, we all need to step up to that call. We all need to do whatever labour, whatever it is that God has given us to do. So as to be complete. So as merely to fulfill what you're called to fulfill. It's just doing what God's asked you to do, and whatever variation of that it is, because there are those things that God calls all of us to do. God calls all of us to shine our light. God calls all of us to bear our cross. God calls all of us to not deny Jesus, but to acknowledge Jesus. God calls all of us to uh, bear fruit and be fruitful. All of us should have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, joyfulness. I said joy, gentleness, and self control. Are you having those things flow out of you? Okay. So let's look at another scripture for the sake of it. I might as well go into the next scripture, which is Matthew 6:1. Literal Standard Version says, "Take heed not to do your kindness before men to be seen by them, and if not, you have no reward from your Father who is in the heavens." So, how can you share that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control without sharing that with others, being kind to others? Well, you've still got to be kind and good to others, but be careful not to do that as in front of others, as in, oh, look at me. I'm being godly. I'm acting as God calls. I'm being a Christian. I'm me. Look, I'm doing this. Honor me. Look at me. That whole point there is the self. Where are you when you do those actions? Not to be seen by them doesn't mean make sure nobody can see that it's happening. Ideally, that's not a bad idea to give, but if you give to your neighbour, for example, your direct neighbour next door, you've got two options. You could go knock on their door and hand them an amount of money. And if they're the only person that lives there, there's another option. You could go put it in an envelope and just slip it under the door so they don't know who it came from, which is what's being said here. Be kind to them, but don't act that it's come from me and I'm just a good person. Mind you, there is another benefit to actually handing it to them directly. Hand it to them directly, but say, God has told me to give you this. And God would like you to know that God can take care of your needs. Do you have God in your life? You can use that as an opportunity to express God to people, which in that case even though you're handing it to them, you're doing it in a way that is not glorifying yourself. Oh, I'm such a good person. I'm giving to give you this and then walk away because I just want you to know I'm such a good person. No, no. If you hand it to them and talk about God, you're taking the focus off yourself anyway, and you're putting the focus on God. So, why not do that? When you give, if you can give to a person directly, talk about God. If you're giving to church or an organization, then don't put your name on the donation. If you want a tax deduction for it, it's an interesting concept. Are you doing it just for the tax deduction, etc.? Is the tax deduction important? And if the tax deduction is important, well, I wonder about your motives of giving in the first place. Our motives of giving should be to glorify God, not for any financial return or any other thing. So, these two verses do relate to each other. We are to mature as Christians and reach the level of stepping out in some kind of call, ministry, representing and doing things for God, but making sure that the for God, as God says, etc., is known and emphasized. Because if you're doing it for your own glory or anything selfish, or if there's self-centered at all, or if there's any thought of, well, I'll get this from it, or I'll get, or whatever that might be, including the tax deductions, then your reasons aren't right. You're not doing it for God, you're doing it for yourself. And Matthew 6:1 is talking about what you do. Don't do it for yourself. Don't do it to be seen by others as you are good, or you are doing, or you anything. Because you are not important. I'm not important. I'm irrelevant. There's only space for God in my heart, no space for me. Okay, might as well wrap up here. I hope that you've got something from this. Please, as always, rate it out of 10. And as always, if it was a good message, post it on. Post it in your on your page to all your followers, for all your followers to see and the like. Why? Because I want to be seen? No, I'd rather you people create these messages. I want this group to be full of messages from lots of different people. It's not about me giving messages. In fact, I want to stop giving messages, but I want the messages to be continuing, as in, 5 messages a day from 5 different people. Everybody doing a daily message. Great. Even if it's only a few minutes. Oh, I'm just going to read one scripture and talk about that one scripture for a few minutes. Great. If you need help to get there, let us know. Contact us. The details, as always, are below. Okay, bless you, govern well, encourage.